Hello, it's Richard Haggerty. Look, a lot of smokers say, oh, it's much harder than I thought to quit smoking. So much harder than I thought to stop smoking. Why is that? Why, why does it suddenly, you've made a decision, oh, this seems like a really good idea. I want to quit this disgusting habit that's antisocial, that costs money, makes me feel regretful, makes me feel out of control, that I really hate, but it's been like a lifelong friend. How do I quit it? And why should it be so difficult? I've stopped it, I've made this decision, I've put things to one side, and I've got all these thoughts going around my mind, I'm feeling obsessed by it, I'm worried about it. Why is it so difficult? And it's difficult because you don't have a plan. So a plan is absolutely essential for you to quit smoking. You see, in 3 to 6% of cases, people can, in essence, do it by themselves. And that's what the research tells us long term. Those people who stopped after a few years by themselves did in 3 to 6% of cases, essentially by willpower, cold turkey, a bit of luck, they somehow managed to get through the obstacles. That still leaves up to 97%, basically most people. If you're looking at the odds, you wouldn't take the odds, but you've got a 90% chance of failure, would you? Okay, so the vast majority of people turn up and that strategy doesn't work for them because there's too many variables. There's too many points where it's overwhelming, and it's not broken down into a very, very reliable system that's going to work with your brain so you can quit smoking. A reliable system to quit smoking means that it's going to take you through all the inner experiences that you're going to need so that you can break the association between anything external that goes on. What do we mean by that? Well, any of the feelings of anxiety, boredom, other feelings that come up inside you and other thoughts inside your mind that are linked in subconsciously and automatically to trigger points during the day. Having a cup of coffee, doing stuff socially, finishing a bit of work, dealing with a little bit of stress or anxiety, just contemplating life. We need to break those. And that's going to involve some self-awareness, it's going to involve some reflection, it's going to involve some motivation, it's going to involve having some kind of plan in place. How could it otherwise work for you to become a non-smoker? If you leave things to chance, well, you can't expect things to work. Now, the thing about this is it becomes hard for people to quit when they don't have a plan, because they'll turn up and they'll start thinking about smoking. They'll be telling themselves, oh, I mustn't think about it. The moment they start doing that, they are thinking about it. Now they've got the anticipation of how they're going to deal with something, the residual little bit of feeling from the original problem. They've got all the pressure of trying not to fall off the wagon whilst taking up all the bandwidth of their conscious mind, only thinking about smoking, and having no idea and no other strategies in place to be able to deal with the very real things in their life. And they have all these unaddressed emotional inner triggers. Can you see why it's so difficult for most people to quit smoking? So what you're going to need is a different strategy to just a hope and a prayer if you want to quit smoking. All right? It's harder than you think because, look, you're trying to achieve something that most people think is very, very hard, and a lot of psychologists believe is very, very hard, which is to change a habit. Now, it becomes harder to change a habit primarily because of the expectations that people have. This is going to be hard, this is going to be difficult, all the stuff that's drilled into them. Okay, with smoking, there are outright lies like, oh, it's all about the nicotine addiction. All right, it's not. It's about the psychological loops that are going inside your mind. Okay, and it's become a kind of inner mental crutch. We need to break that association so you can quit smoking. So it becomes harder to quit smoking when you are, in essence, coming to learn a new skill, which is to change something at the unconscious level, and you don't have a roadmap for how to do that. Okay, throughout your life, you've relied on your unconscious mind when you go to bed at night to breathe, when or during the day to breathe, to grow your hair, to remember how to speak a language, your native language, to remember how to walk. All the skills that you've learnt in your life, you trust this implicit, unconscious, automatic mechanism inside you. But you don't know how to use it, and you don't know how to tactically apply it for something like changing a habit, whether it's stopping eating cream buns, whether it's stopping overeating, whether it's quitting smoking for good. And that's what I do. That's what I help people to do, is to take that and change behaviours and make it automatic. The beautiful thing is that it's a lot easier to go in and change things at the unconscious level and to change habits than you might think when we rely on something that's not only the conscious mind, and that's not only turning up without a plan, and that's not only and that's not generic. Okay, when we work with your mind and we find those spontaneous subconscious openings within you, we can expand them and help you to quit smoking and become a non-smoker. Okay, so it doesn't need to be harder than you thought to quit smoking when you understand that we can leverage your personal motivation, your unconscious mind, your own deep personal values, and connect them with the things that matter to you, and make some other switches at the unconscious level so you quit smoking and become a non-smoker. You can become a non-smoker easily when you move past all the thoughts and expectations about how hard and stressful and worrisome it's going to be. It's almost inevitable that there are going to be expectations about what that journey is going to be like for you. And those expectations, those unaddressed expectations, those are the very things that make it harder than you thought to quit smoking. Which is why, rather than relying on the 97% chance of failing just by turning up, those 3% of people who actually choose, those people instead, if they were to just choose to have support, to be able to put a plan in place and to deal with the unconscious, those unconscious triggers, would change. Remember, it's so much easier to change when you make it automatic and rely and trust on your subconscious mind. Okay, that's where the habit's held. That's what holds all the emotion of all of this habit in place. And if you want to change, you have to deal with those feelings and thoughts that are coming up, because you'll have a vague sense of them at the very least, of any anxiety, boredom, worry, as you start to think about, how am I going to manage during the day when I quit smoking? What happens if I'm going to fail? What happens if I fall off? Even before people actually sort of try to go cold turkey, those are the very things that are running through their mind, okay? And those are precisely the things that we need to handle so that you quit smoking, because once you pull all those away, simply all you've got left is an empty habit that you can stop, quit, and become a non-smoker. So it's always going to be hard to stop smoking if you try to do the same things that the majority of people are doing. If you just try to go cold turkey, if you don't have any idea of your internal drives, your internal motivation, what's going on externally, if you don't have any idea about how to change a habit, if you are just simply relying on willpower and good luck, you are relying on about a 3% chance of success, all right? They are not good odds, and you want to stack the odds in your favour, because let's face it, you've got a mind, you've got a wonderful mind, you've got a mind that has been able to help you, your mind body, to go through life, to learn skills, to get to the very place where you are now. The coping mechanism of smoking was an old thing that you used to use at one point. It's past its usefulness. We can change that. You can become a non-smoker. You can do that. You can transform. You totally have that inside you to change now.